Welcome to another episode of the Pacers Pride Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Emerson. Alongside me, as always, my good friend and co-host, Dylan Deanhart. It's been a few weeks since we've been on spring break and everything. We needed a much-needed break. I would probably speak for the both of us. I would say that's accurate.
I mean, that is a safe statement to make about me.
But I know I'm just kind of ready to finish semester and finish strong and everything, but did you do anything over break, Dylan?
I actually did go. Went to the New York Knicks Pacers game, or it was the Chicago Bulls Pacers game on March 5th.
You went to a Pacers game?
Yeah,
what?
I know. I splurged, even though I haven't paid back the person who took me. So technically I haven't paid. But if Alex Jocelyn is watching this, I will pay you back. No, I won't. But I went to the Chicago Bulls game on March 5th, which was fun to go to. It was a good win, one that they led comfortably. I know we probably won't touch on it since it happened a while ago. But Levine had a dunk contest in that game. The crowd seemed to really piss him off, and he was dunking to show off. But it wasn't enough. As I feel like they could have gotten Laurie more active, but Bojan was very, very, very methodical in that game.
Things.
My favorite thing that I saw was something that you don't see. I don't know if you saw it on TV, but after Wesley Matthews' first three, his bow and arrow celebration. Sabonis was still out with an injury, and next to him, I think Kyle O'Quinn just roamed the bench.
Kyle O'Quinn is he's kind of been the new Lance, I guess, providing the energy and stuff, but yeah.
So, when the ball is in play, Kyle O'Quinn we'll see him, pacing back and down the bench for some reason. But when he stood up, there was an open seat, and so when Wesley shot his, proverbial arrow, it landed in the open seat, and then Sabonis just picks up the imaginary arrow, it hands it to Kyle O'Quinn, and Kyle O'Quinn puts it in an imaginary quill that they keep at the very end of the bench.
Jesus.
That was the only time I saw them do that, but I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, to have those kind of, I guess, celebrations, I guess, would probably be the right term. It's pretty cool. I was down in Florida covering spring training with a class that I'm in. It was really fun. Got still peeling a little bit from the sun that I got, but got to... Didn't reach Indiana, tell you that. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. But got to see a lot of spring training games. I think I ended up going to 4 or 5 games, and got to see people like Aaron Judge, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Before he got injured.
Yeah, I saw that after, thankfully, because I saw he got hurt shortly after the game that we went to. Got to go to 2 Braves games, so that was pretty cool. Probably the only time I'm going to get to see them play this year. But yeah, it was fun. We got learned a lot, and it was fun to cover spring training. And we actually got access to the Marlins, which, granted, it's the Marlins, but you know what? It's still...
I didn't realize they had a new logo and everything this year. I feel like they have a new logo every year.
But just for a bunch of college kids to even talk with a professional baseball player was kind of cool. So
did you ask them why they're taking away the statue in the middle of the field?
I did not.
That's what the people want.
That should have been my story.
Yeah,
that should have been my story. But yeah, it was fun. But we're back and ready to, just like the Pacers, grind through this schedule that they got ahead of us, because we've been talking about it all year, and it's finally upon us. So we're gonna preview some of those games coming up. But first, we're gonna start with the game against the Knicks that was on this Tuesday. Yeah. I'm getting my days confused and everything.
Yeah, they're all put together.
But before we get in the game, did you see, whether it was on social media or anything, the Pacers fans chanting, "Sell your team"?
Did they? I know they have a tradition of just picking a rather tumultuous situation and mocking it during free throws, LeBron and
it was.
I think LeBron wants to trade you or whatever.
It was LeBron, and it was the AD situation.
Yeah,
but the Pacers fans are ruthless when it comes to these chants, and they just started a chant of "Sell your team, sell your team," because the whole James Dolan's been in the news lately with banning a fan who I think just wanted him to sell the team because, let's be honest, the Knicks aren't going anywhere. But the Pacers...
I don't know. We're 80 KD and Kyrie.
Oh, yeah, the free agent mecca that is... I mean, people want to play in New York, so we'll see. But Pacers were able to scratch out a victory. Knicks kept it close for most. But the Pacers won 103-98. Really did not have a good fourth quarter, as kind of that's where the Knicks made their run. Outscoring the Pacers 25-18. But you know what? Bojan has been... For the most part, he didn't have a good game last night against Denver, but in Vic's absence, he's basically done the bulk of the scoring. Had 24 points, 9 of 16 from the field, and every starter scored in double figures. That's always really good to see. Sabonis had 10 and 7 off the bench, and Doug McDermott had 8 points, so that was really good to see as well. But Pacers held off the Knicks, and I don't know what it is about the Pacers and kind of playing down to their competition this year, but it seems like if it's the Knicks, the Bulls, or another
at least for the Bulls, team, I feel like they're just a competitive team.
Yeah, and in division rival and everything. Yeah. But the Knicks, kept it. Emmanuel Mudiay kept them in this game. He had 21. DeAndre Jordan had a double-double, but only had 12 points. Kevin Knox, I really like Kevin Knox, and I think he's going to be a good player. I'm going to be honest, had no idea who Dorian Dotson was.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he went undrafted or was a second-round pick, but I think he's recently a college graduate. But yeah, he carried a load. He shot 50% from the three with 18 points against the Pacers. So.
Yeah, so it was just... Like we said, the Pacers were able to pull off just a nice win at home, and just so able to handle the Knicks, as they still only, that was previous.
It's also Damian Dotson.
Oh, Damian. I thought it was Dorian. Maybe I'm thinking college.
He was selected in the second round in 2017 by the Knicks.
Oh, okay. I mean, happy that he's able to make it in the league and is playing.
He's averaging 10 points per game.
Hey, there you go. Maybe another bright spot for the Knicks. Good job by the point guards, though, of Darren Collison and Corey Joseph to hold Dennis Smith only to 7. And don't think he had a poster dunk in this game. But
I don't believe so.
Good job of not getting put on a poster. Yeah. Especially against DeAndre Jordan as well. So, but like we said, the Pacers able to hold off the Knicks for the 103-98 victory. Just
the last salvation before the schedule.
Oh yeah, before the schedule just became absolutely brutal. And we've talked about it all year, and it's finally here. And the first game of that was against the Oklahoma City Thunder on Thursday, and I was upset that I was not able to watch this game.
It was
because
a good game.
One, I would have been a nervous wreck throughout, but just the back and forth that I saw in the highlights and everything. Pacers were down 18 at one point. I believe 11 points, down 11 points or something with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to grind out a 108-106 win, capped off by a Wesley Smith for some odd reason. Wesley Matthews tip-in. Basically was at the buzzer. I think it was
with
1 point something. And then Thunder they got off a shot, but fortunately for the Pacers, did not fall. And Pacers were able to grind out a very good win against the Thunder, who I believe are fourth in the East? Or East, good lord.
West,
yeah. I don't even know what conference they're in.
They're in the Northwest, and they're third in the Northwest. Denver's leading that, and then Portland's right in front of them. They're a half game back behind Portland.
What seed are they in the overall full standings?
You'll probably find that out faster than I will.
They're fifth now after they've lost 2 straight.
I mean, it's hard when you're 600 and you're third in the conference. So when you're 600 winning percentage, you're third in the conference. It's kind of tough.
Yeah.
And even then, Utah's right behind. They're a game and a half behind them at 40-29.
I didn't know Houston was making this run. They're up to third in the West now.
Yeah. James Harden.
Yeah. Because for the longest time, the Thunder were that 3 seed. And Portland, they're only a half game behind Portland and a game and a half behind Houston. So still time to make some improvements for them.
Yeah,
but
and 2-game swing could mean they're as high as 3 seed. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It was the 6 seed. So.
But in terms of this game, once again, I love seeing every time all of the starters score in double figures. Led by Bojan again with 23.
Well, led by Sabonis.
I was kidding. But like Dylan just mentioned, led by the phenomenal play of Domantas Sabonis off the bench with 26 points, 7 rebounds. He was 12 of 13 from the free throw line, which I'm going to get into the free throw. I'm glad to see that they played well from the free throw line in this game, but the Denver game they kind of struggled. So, but Dylan, every time I guess we play the Thunder and get to see Paul George. No Vic this game, obviously, since he's rehabbing from his injury. But just to see Sabonis play this well against the Thunder, and I'm not taking anything away from PG by any means. He had a phenomenal game. Scored 36 points.
Yeah.
Hit 6 threes and 10 of 12 from the free throw line. But it was just kind of a sweet feeling, I guess.
It's always poetic justice, especially against PG. It seemed like PG had something to prove in this game. I know this is his first game back to Bankers Life. I know there was one last year. But did they win that? No, we won. They haven't beat... PG hasn't won in Bankers, right?
I don't believe so. I can look real quick.
But anyway, Paul George was on fire last night, especially in the first half. He was just cooking us from the 3-point line. He would just... Anything he wanted from that arc, it was going in. And I was worrisome. I was like, if he continues to shoot like this, we're gonna get buried behind because he's just on fire. And then my question was, so at the end they had 1.8 seconds. They called a timeout, and their inbounding strategy was to give Russell Westbrook, who was 1 of 4 coming into that possession from 3-point range, decided to give him the last shot. I was like, why don't you give PG, the guy who's shot almost over 50% from the 3-point line, why don't you give him the last shot? But instead, they gave it to Russell Westbrook, and he was way short, and then he just stormed out of the arena because he looked pissed. But it was still a good win. It was good to see this team come back, and I liked what Wesley Matthews said afterwards. Like this team is never out of a game, no matter how big the deficit is, and he said that's why he likes it here. It's good to see that Wesley Matthews really taking to Indy, because I think Indy's taking to him.
Oh yeah.
I just would like to see him get more shots, but I think that's just trying to incorporate him into the flow of the offense, and that's still a work of progress. But I think it'll come around eventually, and when it does, I think we have a good scoring balance. It always hurts when you don't have your lead star in the fold.
Yeah, and when Vic gets back, I think Wesley Matthews will probably go to the bench, and that'll be a phenomenal 6th man to have.
Yeah.
Because actually, let's just go ahead and talk about it, since that's kind of a good transition. The Tyreke Evans situation, it's been quite
tumultuous.
I guess, to say the least. This over the past week and a half to 2 weeks, he did have, I think, I want to say food poisoning or something like that.
Yeah, he had food poisoning. I think back when they went to Milwaukee and Philly.
Yeah,
I don't think he played those games.
But then after that, he sat out the last 2-3 games. The Denver game was his first game back.
Yeah. He sat out, I think, Philly, New York, Oklahoma City. I think he got food poisoning in Dallas. I can't remember. But I know he was in this. He played in the Chicago game.
Yeah.
Because I saw him.
But he's been sitting out some games due to whether he's been injured or the few games have been listed, as Nate McMillan has called them, personal reasons. And we were talking a little bit before the show. It's just, I've seen, and these are just rumors, I don't know if this is true or not. I believe his brother is his agent. I could be wrong on that, but
you know more about this than that.
But so. He's said that there's, like I said, just rumors that Tyreke Evans wants out of Indy. Whether those are true or not, I have no idea. But he's only on a 1-year contract and he's shown flashes of what he can possibly be, but it just kind of, like, I kind of see it as a slightly better version of the Monte Ellis situation.
Yeah.
Like, he's played better than Monte.
And at least he doesn't have that horrible contract that Monte Ellis had.
And so, but who knows where the future of Tyreek Evans goes. I would doubt he's back with the team next year, if these rumors are true. But, Dylan, I know we were talking a little bit before the show.
Yeah, and he is just on a 1-year deal, which is important to remember. So it's not like even if he doesn't perform, it's not like it's hurt us so much. Even then, I think letting him, we probably aren't going to let him go between now and the end of the season, just because you never know what injuries are going to happen. You need an extra body. But I like the idea of maybe if he's reluctant to perform or he's not feeling like he wants to play as a part of the team anymore, it opens up the door for Aaron Holiday, which I would love to see get minutes. I feel like it would be a good learning experience for Aaron Holiday because off the bench, it wouldn't necessarily be the most minutes he would get because we still have. You could probably give more of it to Wesley Matthews or TJ Leaf or something, who also has been playing like phenomenal in the amount of minutes that he's been getting. Like, when he gets like more than 10 minutes, he's scoring at least like 7 or 8 points a game, which is amazing because it's one of the most overlooked things that has happened this year is because I know he's only averaged like 3.5 points per game, but like I want to find his big games. Like he's only getting like 5 minutes, but he got 11 minutes in Milwaukee. He scored 2 points. I can't go back farther, but I know I think he had like 11 against Chicago when I went to go see him, but if it gives Aaron Holiday and TJ Leaf more minutes, I think Tyreek leaving is not the worst thing. It gives us a chance to work in some of these new players and everything. So,
yeah, I'd agree, and it's just it is what it is with Tyreek. Just like we said, kind of haven't really we haven't seen his full potential, I guess, and like he's not used to coming off the bench and everything, and here's actually the tweet that I was kind of looking at. Doc Evans is his name on Twitter. I think it's Tyreek's brother. Says, I'd rather him not play at all, and then someone commented below, and then he replied, it's almost over, thank God. So take that with what you will. It's his brother / assistant manager, whatever that is, but obviously a good relation with Tyreek and everything, so like I said, take that with what you will. But like you mentioned, Owen, I think especially if he isn't with the Pacers next year, we'll get to see obviously more minutes from Aaron Holiday, maybe some more minutes out of Edmund Sumner, maybe.
Or probably more out of Doug McDermott.
Yeah, but we'll just see where this situation goes. Like you said, I don't think we release him by any means before the season because he can still provide some good minutes, obviously, when he's out there. But it's just kind of been a tumultuous, like, I think that's a really good word to describe it, situation going on. But he's back now, so hopefully he can help the Pacers win some more games and see what he does in the playoffs and everything. Speaking of the playoffs, magic number is just 1, just to clinch a playoff spot. So
easier said than done.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get it done against the Nuggets, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. The Pacers, I was able to watch this game as, knowing my stupid self, I'm going to be staying up and watching all of these Western Conference games because, you know what, I go to bed usually around 1:30 anyway. So, but this game didn't start till 9, and they played at Denver. This was basically a tale of two halves because the Pacers came out firing in the first quarter. Had a 36-point first quarter and could barely miss. Darren Collison, Bojan, everyone was playing some pretty solid basketball and everything, and held the Nuggets to 25 in the first, which was pretty nice, but the Nuggets dominated basically the second and third quarter, and I think their lead was as high as, I know it was double digits at one point. It was 10 or 11 points going into the fourth.
They had an 11-point lead going into the second quarter, but
yeah,
there was a 2-point lead at half.
Yeah, the Pacers were able, or the Nuggets, were able to cut the Pacers' deficits only, like you said, 2 at half, and then the third quarter they just came out firing. Pacers, they had 60 at half, at halftime, and then you come out and you only score 40 in the second half. That's on most nights not going to get it done, especially 15 points in the third quarter. Just the offense was so stagnant. No one could buy a basket, and Denver just took advantage. The defense for the Pacers stepped up pretty well. They only held them to 22, which was pretty nice. But then the fourth quarter, the Pacers just kept slowly grinding away, and eventually, I think where the game turned was Nikola Jokic got a double tech for arguing a foul with Tony Brothers, and I think I tweeted out Tony Brothers for Pacers MVP. But he basically yelled some expletives that I cannot repeat, and he got a double tech, and I think Bojan shot 2, and then Miles shot 2, and Pacers were able to cut the lead, and ended up, I think it was tied at a few points, and then Paul Millsap just hit. They had the ball with like 26 seconds left. Paul Millsap made a great move on Miles Turner and hit a basket. Then my biggest issue, two of my biggest issues with this game, since I watched from start to finish, was the last shot that the Pacers got was not a good shot at all. It was granted Bojan was taking the 3, and it was slightly contested, but we had, I believe, 7 seconds to get a shot off, and I'm not a fan of, Quentin Buckner was like, go for the win on the road, and I understand that, but I wasn't a fan of the shot, because especially he had Wesley Matthews open at the top of the key, could have made a pass, and he probably could have got off a better shot, but it is what it is with that. And then my biggest issue was, I talked about it a little bit earlier, you have to hit your free throws. I understand the Pacers went 26 of 37, but hit 3 more and you win. We've kind of talked about it a little bit all year. Kind of free throws have been a bit of a struggle. 70% from the line.
Denver shot 65%.
Yeah, Denver didn't shoot the ball from the free throw line. No team shot the ball well from the free throw line, but you have to make them.
One quick thing is, none of the Pacers really shot bad from the free throw line. Granted, Wesley Matthews shot 1 of 2, but that's just splitting your ends. Sabonis is probably the biggest culprit. He shot 50% because he had 4 of 8 from free throw line.
Yeah, he
was probably the one that's all right, you probably could have swung the tide a little bit. But other than that, it was just a 1 or 2 miss collectively between the teams. So
yeah, I guess like you said, it wasn't one person who was missing a bulk of the free throws, but I was just it's one of my biggest pet peeves as a basketball fan. You're a professional, and I understand you've been playing a long time, so.
Yeah, and my dad always yells at the TV, "Hit your free throws."
Yeah, that was literally me last night. It's because, especially going down the stretch in these difficult games, this was a game the Pacers could have easily won.
Yeah.
Sucks that Bojan, like I mentioned, wasn't able to hit a 3 in this one. I think that was only his 4th or 5th game this season without a 3. He didn't have a great night. Turner didn't have a great night. What you kind of talked about the shot attempts for Wesley Matthews. Mm-hmm. Wes only took 5 shots. Sabonis had a pretty good game off the bench. Tyreek only had 5 off the bench. Kojo only had 1. Excuse me. So maybe if you get some more bench production, that could have swayed the tide a little bit. But I'm happy in the fact that we took the 2nd seed in the West to, basically the brink. And
at home.
Yeah, at home, and almost pulled off a win.
Because the Nuggets have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA as of right now.
Oh, yeah, and that home field advantage.
They're 30-6 at home.
Yeah, so that... I don't know if that played a factor in it.
I could see how the elevation would have led to an amazing start in the first half, and then their energy just kind of depleted rapidly because of the elevation in the second half. So, as I know, players hate playing in Denver because of that. So that could have been a factor because you can't really. It's hard to prepare for that.
Yeah,
I know of the infamous George Hill mask thing at warm up that he wore back in the day to just try to acclimate himself, but it's hard to play a basketball game up there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely with the altitude kind of, and especially when you're running up and down the court, it's gonna take away your ability to, especially since the Pacers aren't used to really playing out west or anything, so the elevation is obviously higher out there. But you know what, it's like I said, I can't complain too much that they took the Nuggets to the brink and had a good lead on them in the first half and everything, but just the Nuggets showed why they are going to be a formidable threat in my opinion.
I don't think they'll beat the Warriors, but
I don't think so either, but for a team, I really didn't think the Nuggets were going to be the 2nd seed in the West, and everything. So they've had a really good year. Jokic, minus the ejection, had a phenomenal game as well. Had 26 points, 7 boards, and 5 assists. Paul Millsap hit some big shot, like I mentioned, hit that big shot late. They had a lot of people, just like the Pacers. All 5 of their starters scored in double figures. Will Barton hit 3 after 3, it seemed like. Ended up going 4 of 9.
Yeah.
But it was just, like I said, sucks that Pacers couldn't pull it out, but gonna have to play these kind of games, especially I believe, in this difficult Western Conference road trip. So we're gonna move on now and preview the games that the Pacers have this week. We'll preview the 3 games against Portland. All 3 of these on the road. We're going to be 10:30 starts, so Pacers fans, like I said, I usually don't go to bed till 1:30 anyway, so I'm probably going to stay up and watch them. First, we'll talk about the game against Portland, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and start off with my prediction. I think the Pacers win this game now. There has been C.J. McCollum in their last game said...
He says his knee doesn't feel normal.
Yeah, it doesn't feel normal. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
I hate to speculate the worst, but I highly doubt he plays on Monday.
I think they're getting an MRI on his knee. I'm trying to check.
Even just as precautionary reasons, I would probably keep him out of this game.
Yeah, he's going to have an MRI after suffering the injury. He had a scary fall and an awkward landing, so they haven't said what the MRI has come back as. So we'll
I'd imagine that we'd get the results of that later today.
Yeah, and if it's positive, they may just sit him out a game just as a precaution. Yeah, I too have doubts that he plays against tonight, which ESPN still has him day to day, which is I think a fair assessment because we don't know what he's going to be. So I think he will miss tonight's game, and if that's the case, it's still tough. I know
it really is.
Portland's got one of those great home arenas that always seems to give them an energy boost when needed. It is on ESPN, and we haven't been doing great on national TV. I know that's the stigma amongst Twitter's
I'll still be
take all of our TV off, just play on Fox Sports because that's when we play better. So
I'm still gonna probably. I don't know if Fox Sports is gonna broadcast.
I think TNT is what kicks Fox Sports out. I think ESPN. I could be wrong.
Because if so, I'm gonna just watch it on Reddit, and so I can listen to Quinn Buckner and Chris Denary.
I was gonna say, I know the Philly game, the Fox Sports guys didn't go.
Yeah, I know there's a few of them that they didn't go to, but if C.J. McCollum isn't able to go, that would probably leave Rodney Hood. I forgot he was out in Portland.
Yeah,
probably starting at shooting guard. I just think that the Pacers could let Dame, especially since C.J. McCollum won't be in this game. If Dame gets even, I'd say 30, just try and hold Maurice Harkless, Alfred Camino. Miles Turner's going to have a tough time, I think, against Nurkic because Nurkic can bully him down low. Hopefully, Miles Turner's able to block a few shots down there. But
then they also have Enes Kanter. I forgot about that.
They have Enes Kanter?
Or did he leave? I thought, he is part of Portland because I remember the elevator thing.
Oh, of course. Enes, oh my.
I believe. He's with the Blazers.
He is? Okay, yeah. Lovely. Well, so I wonder how that rotation's working now. Has he...
I think he's the backup to Nurkic.
And moving Zach Collins out of... Okay. I mean...
Zach Collins is not on the team anymore, I don't think.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm looking at
No. He's a power forward.
I'm looking at the ever-reliable ESPN depth chart.
I'm looking at their roster. Yeah, he is. He's probably the backup to... Or Collins is probably backing up Alfred Aminu. So they're probably switching Enes Kanter, Nurkic, and then Aminu and Zach Collins.
Okay, yeah. So they have three formidable big guys out there that can wreak havoc and everything, but I'm still hoping that the Pacers are able to pull it out. Like I said, just contain Dame and don't let really anyone else go. You can have some guys go for like 10, 12 points here and there, but don't let, say, Yusuf Nurkic go for 20 and 12 or something like that. Or Rodney Hood hit 4 or 5 threes or whatever, but just can't forget about, I hate to say it, but can't forget about Seth Curry either because he's obviously...
He's averaging 6 points per game.
His 3 point, I know he's not taken probably many, but his 3 point, last time I looked, I believe he was like top 5 in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
So
he only takes 1.3 a game, or he takes 3 attempts, but only makes 1.3 a game.
Yeah. So I got the Pacers winning. Hopefully, Dylan, what's
something my gut's telling me that's not going to happen. Just something about it.
It's hard to predict wins, especially on this Western Conference road trip.
Yeah, I don't think we win this one. I think the next game is going to be more likely, in my opinion. But I don't think we win against Portland. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we do, just because they're they're trying to find a second option behind C.J. McCollum. So I can see that being an issue.
All right. Well, the next game of course it's a doubleheader, or not doubleheader, but a back-to-back.
It's not that far, at least.
Yeah, you're going from Portland to L.A. as the Pacers will go to the Staples Center and not play the Lakers, but the Clippers.
Wish we were playing the Lakers.
Yeah, I do too, because we'd stomp the Lakers like we did the last time.
Yeah.
But they will play the Los Angeles Clippers, the Clippers, I believe...
They're 7-3 in their last 10. Including wins at LA, against OKC, against Boston. They lost to Portland, but won against Chicago. They're second. They're right behind Golden State in the Pacific, and I don't know if they're...
I think they're 8th overall in the West. Yeah, they are. So they good Lord, the West is basically set in terms of playoff seeding.
Tobias Harris is still their leading scorer.
In terms of in terms of the 8 teams that are going to be in.
Yeah.
Because, look at the Lakers. 8.5 back. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, don't worry. Playoff mode's activated.
Yeah. And I don't know if they played last night, but he rested again for load management.
Yeah.
Way to be a leader, LeBron. But the Clippers gave us trouble last time, I believe we played...
I think that was at home.
Oh, never mind. We absolutely throttled them, 116-92. And, yeah, that was at home. I thought they gave us more trouble than they did. But I predicting a win again, they're 40-30, so they're still a really good team, and it's out west and everything at Staples. So, I just think obviously going to be the focal point to contain is Lou Williams. That feels weird to say, containing the focal point off the bench, but you know what? He's a really good six-man, has been six-man of the year twice, I believe, in his career. You
could always just put him as like a contender for the six-man, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, because he's just lights up the scoreboard no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, just contain. I'm trying to look at some of their other...
Danilo Gallinari is their second leading scorer with 19.4. Montrezl Harrell, who has been like a surprise, is third with 16.
I forgot about Montrezl Harrell.
He's been playing very, very good for them of late. They don't have Landry Shamet, right? Because he's still up there in terms of the ESPN. He has an asterisk, which means I think he's in Philly. I think that's...
I think Philly traded him, too.
Oh, yeah. Never mind, you're right. Because it was part of the Tobias Harris trade.
Yeah.
So
they don't have Boban anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like Boban.
Everyone likes Boban.
Did you see the ESPN's like top biggest athletes? And then he tweeted like, "Wow, I can't believe you couldn't fit me into the picture."
Of course he did. But yeah, just
and Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, God. I can't forget about Patrick Beverley. He's probably. I'm assuming he's starting.
He's gonna be guarding. What I would assume he's guarding Bojan, or
they're probably going to put him, because I remember specifically he asked when they beat the Lakers earlier, he asked to be on LeBron.
Yeah.
And he, I think for the most part, did a really good job, as he usually does.
And he guarded PG, I know that.
And so
the PG Patrick Beverley Twitter beef was kind of funny to follow.
So we'll see who he ends up guarding. Like you said, I think it's probably either going to be Bojan or Wes.
Mm-hmm.
One of those two. But I still think the Pacers get it done. Like I said, they still, like you mentioned, they still have Tobias Harris on third. Good old reliable ESPN.
Well, I mean, it's no one surpassed it, so that's why they don't take it down.
But the big three, I guess, if you will, of Williams, Gallinari, and Harrell are going to probably be the focal points to stop right there. Especially Harrell on the offensive and defensive just getting rebounds in general. He's averaging 6.6. I thought he was averaging a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But
I think
still going to be...
Go ahead.
He's a heck of an athlete to defend, so...
Yeah, and I think we match up fairly well against the Clippers, because I think Montrezl Harrell takes advantage of the trend of not having a relatively sizable power forward or center, and that I think matches up extremely well against him. I think he'll have trouble scoring against that, and I don't know if I think Miles is going to have one of his breakout games, because it's going to be against Zubac from LA, and I think he's going to have his way. There's no dominant center in Miles Turner's way, so I think Miles is going to feast. And aside from that, I mean, you got to watch out from Lou Williams and Danilo Gallinari, but I think if we minimize Montrez and Shias Gilgeous-Alexander and company, I think we can focus more on Danilo Gallinari and Lou Williams, and that limits their offensive impact. So I like the matchup we have, and I think we do come out with a win. Yeah. I think this is one of the more safer bets.
Yeah, unlike the next game.
Yeah,
because
next game, I mean, they have had their struggles, but
we swept them last year.
Yeah.
But the Golden State Warriors, Pacers going to travel to Oracle. We're gonna see about Kevin Durant and his ankle. I know he didn't play in their last game.
I say Bogut, Durant, and Cousins are all day to day.
Bogut's expected to join the team here soon, because they signed him as a free agent. I have no idea about Boogie, but they list Tyreek Evans as out.
They don't know because he came back against.
Oh, okay. I guess they don't do a good job of updating their stuff, but heck, even if Kevin Durant does not play, I'm a diehard Pacers fan by any means, but I don't see the Pacers getting it done at Oracle.
Yeah, let's say DeMarcus Cousins exited Saturday's game against the Thunder due to a sore right ankle. Let's see, this game is when? On Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
So I'd be shocked if that ankle kept him out till Thursday. Bogut, non-injury related, has gotten his visa situation cleared and is expected to debut next Thursday against the Pacers.
Lovely.
Durant is out Saturday against the Thunder. Mark Medina of the San Jose Mercury News reports he'll most likely play in San Antonio.
Yep. So.
Warriors coach Steve Kerr said about Durant's availability for Monday's game, just feel more comfortable to give him a couple days more rest.
So yeah, it's just sounds like Kevin Durant is close to coming back and playing and everything. So unless there's another miracle game where we see Bogey out playing Kevin Durant, it happened last year.
I wouldn't put too much faith into
that. I highly doubt it, but yeah,
I just hope every time the Pacers play the Warriors, some record is broken on the Warriors side, or the Warriors break some record against us. So I just hope that doesn't happen. I just hope we play them at least competitively. That's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, not
lose by 20 at least.
The last time the Warriors came into Bankers Life, they won 132-100. So
yeah, that was because Steph Curry was just he could shoot it from Greenwood and would still be making it.
Yeah, Curry in that game did have 26 points, 6 of 8 from threes.
Yeah.
One key I guess if you call it a key factor, the last time the Pacers played the Warriors, we didn't have Wesley Matthews, and Tyreek Evans did not play. That was the game Edmund Sumner started.
Because it was no Oladipo. Was that it was a couple days after
Oladipo. I think that was one of the first games without him, yeah. So, and then Tyreek was hurt, and then
we hadn't traded,
and we didn't have Wes. So we'll see what the Pacers can maybe put up, but I think we're
Bojan shooting a better percentage from field goal than Steph Curry. It's the little things.
Bojan's better than Steph Curry.
Yeah.
But
he's averaging 10 more points per game, so.
Yeah, but like we said, I hope the Pacers can make it somewhat competitive and not get absolutely shellacked. Granted, the Warriors, they've had some questionable games here lately.
So they dropped Phoenix at home.
That's the one that I was going to reference.
But, it's easy for Phoenix to, surprise some people, especially with Devin Booker, because he can just single-handedly take a game over. Yeah. And the Pacers really don't have that kind of a player with that ability. So,
really random off topic, and I guess it's a great way to end the show. But did you see the ending to the Phoenix Sacramento game?
I don't believe so.
Josh Jackson hit a 3 to tie it with, I think, less than a second left. Then both teams had no timeouts, and Alvin Gentry called a timeout.
And then that led Devin Booker to shoot the game-winning free throws. Yeah.
And so, the Kings, or the Pelicans, lost because they forgot they had timeouts.
They had no timeouts.
Yeah, they had no timeouts. So
which led to technical.
That was a just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah.
But, let's just hope the Pacers can continue to grind out this stretch, because it doesn't. After the Warriors, it doesn't. They still have the Thunder to play again, and they still will have.
They're gonna have a sour taste in their mouths.
Yeah, so
we get a brief stint at home against Denver, a rematch.
I wouldn't call that a brief stint.
Yeah.
But in terms of being at home, I see what you're saying. Because then it goes at Oklahoma City. They end, thankfully, at Oklahoma City and at Boston.
They take mercy at us after Boston.
And then hopefully the Pacers can start to reel off some wins near the end of the year to make sure that right now they're in the 4 spot, so they'd get home court against Boston.
I want to look at the playoff standings right now.
Boston is 5, Philly is 3. But we could be tied with Philly, or I'm sorry, Boston is 5, Philly is... Yeah, I thought I was mixing up my words again. But we hold, I think, a game lead over Boston.
I'm trying to pull it up.
And Philly does play Milwaukee today. So we could be back to being tied with them. But
they have the tiebreaker over us, I believe.
Because they won the season series 3-1.
So yeah, we are a game above Boston right now, which we have 2 against them coming up. So that'll probably determine whether or not we're above or below Boston. So right now, I mean, I would like to get to the 3 seed because I'd much rather play Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit or Brooklyn, one of the two, because they're fighting for. They're only a half game separates them.
Yeah, because right now, Bulls, Cavaliers, and Knicks are eliminated. Milwaukee and Toronto have clinched. Right now, it's Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly, Indy, Boston, Detroit, Brooklyn, Miami.
And honestly, if you're the 8th seed is still up for grabs. You have Miami, and then the Magic and the Hornets are only a game out. Washington is 3.
Atlanta's probably the most unlikely. They are.
Atlanta's going to get
eliminated. They're 9 games away from the 8th seed, but Washington's the farthest away is Washington, who is 3 games back of 8th seed. So
Bradley Beal's been single-handedly leading them to a respect. Without John Wall, that's kind of, I guess, a respectable record.
They are 6-4 in their last 10 games, and as opposed to Charlotte, who's plummeting, and they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They might leapfrog Charlotte and come into contention.
So who knows? It's definitely going to be a wild end to the regular season. Pacers, like we've kept talking about, just keep grinding through this difficult stretch that they're going through, and maybe surprise some people and win some games, like the Oklahoma City game. I don't highly doubt anyone gave us a shot in that one.
Yeah.
But we were able to pull it out. We just went toe-to-toe with the Nuggets in Denver, so Pacers are capable, it's great to see, especially without Vic, contending against these top teams. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but we'll be back here next Sunday to talk more about this Wild West road trip that they've been in.
Hopefully have a good outcome.
Yeah, let's hope that they do well. But just keep the games close and make them competitive, and maybe the Pacers can pull something out in the end. But we'll be back here next Sunday to recap it all. But until then, for Dylan Deanhart, I'm Cody Emerson. Go Pacers.